All right, my friends, here we go. Today's Revit tip was a request from one of you guys. See, I love these requests. So let me see. Let me see who it was. Andrew Pollard. He says, hey, can you show me, he said, could you show me how to make a simple deck? Because I mean, I was like, of course, because there's a deck on the back of almost every residential piece of construction. And sometimes people have decks around their pools. There are decks all over the place. And I want to show you guys how to make a deck in Revit. So I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. Let's take a look at how to make a deck. Okay. Share your screen and show them how to make a deck. Oh, sorry. Was that me singing? Okay, here we go. All right, so there's my face. This is an example of a deck that we are going to build, okay? And so what I want to show you guys is, or tell you first, before we get going, you can make a deck out of a floor, just a bunch of pieces of floors. And that's probably not the best practice, but you could do it. You could make it out of little generic objects and extrusions and build this whole thing. But that's probably not the way you should do it. You could do it, but we're not going to go there. I want to show you best practice. The best way to make a deck is by using they're actually structural members that are built into Revit that facilitate this kind of construction. It's perfect. I mean, Revit's made for it. It's ready to do it. So here we go. Let me just tell you the components of a deck, and we're going to go through those components and build them. The first part of a deck are the columns. There are columns, there are posts, like 4x4 posts underneath the deck holding it up off the ground, okay? And you can see them in this picture. And then there are beams connected to the posts and to create a platform. And then there are deck boards laid on top of those beams to create the top surface that you walk on. So we've got columns, beams, and then deck boards. And then you toss in a stair so you can get up onto it. And then you toss in some railings so people don't fall off, okay? So those are the simple concepts, and we're going to build a simplified deck right now, okay? So here we go. I'm going to go to the plan view, and here is our deck that we already have. So I'm going to just build over here to show you what we're talking about. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is put in a column. And if you click on column on the architecture tab, there's a drop down under column, and there's a structural or an architectural column. We want to use the structural column. So it's easiest if you would just click on the structure tab instead of the architecture tab. The structure tab has columns, and that's the only choice they have, the structural column. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to pick structural column. Now, most of you have a structural column already loaded into your project because there's just one in there. And it's most likely like a W shape, a W 10 by 33 or a W 10 by 49. You probably don't have a 4x4. So let me show you the 4x4 post. Let me show you how to go get those. When you click on column and you notice you don't have what you want, you can click up here on load family. And what it does is it takes you to your library of objects, and you scroll all the way down, and then there's a bunch of folders for structural objects. There's foundation stuff, column stuff, framing, retaining walls, etc. Trusses, you know, there's a bunch of structural stuff, but we want to go to columns. So we're going to double click that and open it. We're looking for a wood column, so we're going to open that. And now what we want to click on is dimensional lumber. When I double click that, it opens up this dialog box, which is actually a chart. And what we're looking for is the one that we want. And they're listed. This is a type catalog. And we look down here. We have two by fours, 2x8s, 2x6s, a column. There it is, 4x4. That's the one we want. And so you say, okay. And it loads it into your project. So now you can place those. So if I place one, I can place another. Now, here's the fun part. This thing, they align with each other automatically in Revit. See that? It's fantastic. So if we want to keep it simple, I can grab, look at this. Let me put a dimension between them. From the center of that one to the center of that one is some weirdo number. And from those, see, I just placed them in here. So what you can do is grab these two columns, and because I got more than one object, this dimension doesn't go active. So I can reach up on this bar right here and click activate the dimension. And now it's live. So I can say, okay, I want a 12-foot wide deck. Okay, and then I'm going to grab these bottom two, activate the dimensions, and say I want 8-foot deck. Okay, so it's going to be an 8x12 deck. And you probably need structure like every 4 feet or so to hold up the board so they don't sag. Okay, so I'm going to take this and these, I'm going to copy over 4 feet. Yay! And I'm going to copy them again. Okay, these guys. Copy 4 feet. So basically we've got a little bit of framing going on here. And I don't know if I'm just whatever. I'm not a deck designer. I'm just showing you how to build one, okay? You look into the spans that's required for building decks. So this is just a simple framework so that I can show you how this works. Okay, now, if we go to 3D, look what we've got. Ready for it? Yay, look at those little guys. They're great. Woohoo. Okay, if I grab all these, you'll notice that these are these columns. Now that I've grabbed them, I can look over in my parameters, and they're going from the first floor at 0 up to the first floor 3 feet high. Well, you can change the height of these right here and now. I would like these, the base of them, to be 3 feet down. So I'm going to say minus 3 feet. And the top of them to be level with the floor, 0. Okay, that makes sense. And so they shift. So here we are shifted. Simple enough. I'm going to go back to my plan. Okay, so here they are. Now we've got the posts. We could put these in any shape we wanted, but we're going to put these posts here, and we're going to put the beams on them now. So when I click on beam, if I don't have any structural member, sometimes you'll only have a W12 by 26, which is a W flange beam. You don't need that. So if you don't have a 2x8 or a 2x10 or a 2x12 or whatever you need as a beam, again, you click load family. And what comes up, it'll come up into the column section. We don't want to go there. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a beam. So you go up, see structural columns, up, back to the Imperial Library, or if you're in China or Germany or Korea, you can go back to your directory. I'm going to go back into English Imperial because that's just the ones I use because I don't speak Korean. Maybe I'll learn someday. Who knows? Maybe we'll all learn Chinese someday. Who knows? Okay, let me just scroll down. I'm looking for structural. Here we go. Structural, not columns. We're going to structural framing. And then it looks very similar. There's wood. Yes, it looks similar. Look at this. Dimensional lumber. It brings up another chart. This is our type catalog, and we're looking for the beam that we want. There's a 2x6, 2x8, 2x10. If you want to bring in more than one, you can. You can just hold down Control and select several if you want that you want to bring in, and you can say, okay. What it does is it brings those into your project, okay? Now, I want to start using the 2x8s. So what I did was I clicked on the beam tool, and now look at this. Dimensional lumber 2x8s are pre-selected. I can click on the center of this column and the center of this one, and it puts in a beam. Look at this, people. It puts in a beam for me. And if I go to 3D, you'll see it. Look at that. It just puts it in perfectly for me. And if I go back to my plan, I'm gonna say, whoa, that's pretty amazing. I am going to go beam, and I'm gonna put one all the way down to this end, and this one all the way to here, and one from there to there, okay? Just to show you what's going on. I'm gonna go back to 3D. Look at that. I got beams. Now I can, if I didn't want it crashing through these beams, then I can put one from post to post to post to post. And you can actually place them in 3D, but I like going back to the plan and drawing them. So let me just show you something. See, I didn't have to have them crashing all the way through. Let me just do, if I delete this one, I can say beam from this one to this one, okay? And then I'd like another one over here. But wait, I want one to fill in the gap. So now they are not slamming through, okay? They're actually starting and stopping at the column, okay? Just showing you how this works. The reason I don't really care whether they crash all the way through is because I wasn't planning on keeping them aligned like that. Here's what I was planning on doing. I'm going to spin this around and show you what I'm going to do. Okay. Let's just use the align tool. I am going to show you how to get these aligned. Watch this. AL on the keyboard, aligned. I would like this beam to come around, wrap around this. So if I click the face of this, I can click the back side of this beam and it'll shift, okay? And then I can say, come up to this face here, the end. So you can actually manipulate, let me just show you. See, manipulate where these beam ends go. So I'm gonna say, come to the face, back side, come all the way to the face of this beam, end. So do you see what I'm doing here? Because I used a beam tool, the structural members are exactly structural size perfectly, and I can make them align where I want to. So I'm just gonna see that now, because I broke this, I'm gonna say come up to the face here, and maybe the end, this end goes to that end. So I can extend these, and if I want this to go all the way down, I can just delete this one, okay? And I can say align, come all the way to the end face, See, you can extend these and however you need. So I'm gonna just fix this. This front one, come there and come to the face, end, okay? I'm almost done. We're just making a simple deck. Come to the face, this face, the back, boom, and come to this face, come to this face, you just tell these things what to do. And here, lastly, let's go, come up to this face, and come up to this face, boom, okay? So we've got ourselves a little structure, a deck, and you guys can put in other cross beams too. So I'm gonna show you how to do that. You can put in, if you didn't have columns out here in the middle, you could do this. You can say beam. I would like a beam from, not from the column. I'm going to go from one beam over to the other beam. Okay? And maybe I'll do it again. I'm just going to put one in to there. Look at that. Okay? And I can spread these guys out. I can move this one down. I can just type in 4 feet here. So that one's at 4 feet from that. This one, maybe another 4 feet from there. So I can align these guys. And I can say align. The end of this, extend. The end of this, extend. Boom. Okay? And it's doing it here too. Go to here, extend. Go to here, extend. Okay. So there we go. And in 3D, look, we've got bracing. So basically, we've got we're working on it. We've got our first two components. We've got the columns, and then we've got the beams. And again, this could be any L shape, Z shape, whatever. Go back to the plan. Now what we need is deck boards on top of this. And I happen to know that I've got two, I mean, we need to put 1x6s on this thing at every 6 inches. Ding, 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 okay? And so I look down here in my structural framing, and it's underneath my families under structural framing, and I have a 2x6, 2x8, 2x10, but I don't have a 1x6 that I would use as a deck board. So I can take one of these and duplicate it and then change the dimensions of the new duplicated one to make a deck board. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to pick any one I want. I'll just pick the 2x6, right click, and I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to name that 1x6 decking. Okay, let me just decking, 1x6 decking. And I'm going to double click it and it brings up its properties. Okay, and now the B and the D here are the two different dimensions. The B is the horizontal dimension and the D is depth. So I want this to be 5.5 inches wide, but 3/4 of an inch thick, because that's a 1x6. I say, okay. So now I've just created a 1x6 decking piece to be used as a beam on top of this, okay? But I don't want to waste my time. Like, well, let me just show you. You could put a beam in, okay? And let's just say a beam. I'm going to go from here all the way. Wait, I didn't tell you what kind. Go back to structural, hit beam. Over here, I don't want a 2x8. I want to switch this to the 1x6 decking. Boom, okay? And now, if I go from here across, all the way across, okay, it puts a piece of decking on, but it's flush. The problem is my decking is, all the tops are level. So this thing is 3/4 of an inch thick. I need to lift it up 3/4 of an inch. Let me just show you. When you highlight it over here, you can, it needs to be 3/4 of an inch up. So I'm going to say the front, the one end of it is 3/4 of an inch up, and the other end, the other end needs to be 3/4 of an inch up. You with me? So it doesn't slope. Okay. So now when I look at it, it is up on top of these beams, and it goes almost all the way to the end, but it doesn't quite reach all the way to the end. See that? It's a little bit short. So when you highlight it, there's arrows. You can drag this little arrow to get it to come all the way to the end. Or in 3D, wait for it. In 3D, you can say align, come to this face U, and it will extend. Now I've got one board, and if I say align down to the end, this one board, boom, it moves down, and it's responding to this beam that, I mean, this column that's down here. So I have to redo this board at the end. You guys with me here? You see how this is working? Okay. Now, I don't want to put these boards in this way, one at a time. It could be tedious. I got one. I can copy it. Look at this. I can copy it. I can copy it up 6 inches. Looking good. I can array it. Watch. Click on it. Use array. And I'm going to disassociate it. I want 8 of them. Okay. And I want to point up and say every 6 inches. Boom. And so you can get your deck boards in that way. That's one way to do it. And it's not such a bad way, except that there's a better way. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to go back to the plan view. Let's get rid of these deck boards. Okay. Delete deck boards. Okay. I know we took the time to put them on there, and I'm going to show you a better way to do it. There's a beam system. A beam system, it's like drawing a floor out, but it puts all the beams in for you and all you have to do is draw the perimeter, okay? So I'm gonna say beam system, okay? Now, it pops up automatically, a beam system, and it will put into each of these different, it will put in a beam in there automatically, but I wanna go to sketch. And I'm gonna go to the rectangle tool, and I'm gonna pick the corners of my deck, okay? And before I go anywhere, I want to show you, see these extra lines up here? That is the way that the beams are going to be, the direction of the beams. The beams are going to be laid horizontally. If I wanted them to go vertical, I could reach up here and click on beam direction. And when I click on one of the vertical lines, it switches those little lines over there. So now that's the beam direction. The beams would go this way. But I do want them to go horizontal, so I'm going to click on that. So I want them to go that way. That's what those extra lines are. They're right there. Okay. So now what I do before I say done, there's a couple things you got to do. Remember, this beam system is going to come in level with the top of the column, these columns and the beam. So I want to lift it up. So over here, the elevation, I'm going to lift it up 3/4 of an inch. That's the first thing I do. But then I want to set the distance, the fixed distance of 6 inches, and my beam type, I'm going to change that to the 1x6 decking. Okay, so now it's ready, and I can check the box, and what it does is it puts in my deck boards for me. Just slams them in perfectly, and if I go to 3D, there they are. Now you might notice that some of them are not reaching all the way to the end. That is normal because when you put a beam in, it stops at the next structural object that it hits. But that's why we have a line tool. And go align. Come to the face, and okay, wait for it. I am going to come back. Let me come back to the plan here and see what's going on here. And I'm going to hit, hold on, let me just see what's going on here. All right. So let me, that skunked me the last time I did this. Hold on. I'm going to do this one more time. Let me just do this one more time. Here we go. Beam system. And I'm going to sketch the beam system. I'm going to use structural members really fast, make it faster. I don't know why it wouldn't let me extend those, because it will. Okay, there we go. Okay, it's playing games with me. Typically, you can just tab to the individual members, and the individual members you can extend and you can slide and you can do whatever you want to. And that is upsetting me that it is not allowing me right now to do that. So I'm sorry. Wait a minute, maybe I got it. Maybe I got it. Hold it, hold it. Okay, let me go. I was messing around with it and I think I got it to release. Come to this face. You know, the come to this face. No, it's playing games with me. Why I oughta, you know, right when you're trying to make a video, these things play games with you. Okay, what I can do, if I highlight this thing, okay, I can set this thing to be at, you know, align these centered, and then I'm gonna remove the beam system. And so it placed all these beams in for me, and then I just removed the locking system that was holding them in place. I wish I didn't have to do that. But now I'm going to say align. Come to here, you. Come to here, you. And so I can go down this line and get all these little beams to come down. You can do multiple alignments. Like multiple alignment, come to this face, you, okay? You, whoops. And bring them all down here. Make it simple on yourself. And I'm going to go to the other end and do the same thing, okay? All right, align, multiple alignments here, bring it on. Okay, so we're just going to we're extending the ends. I was working earlier and I didn't have to get rid of the beam system to make it work, but this time I did. Okay, so now we've got the deck boards on there, and all you need now is a railing and stairs. So I'm going to go back to the plan, and let me say I want, I'm going to go railing. Now, let's go to 3D for a sec. I'll show you. See this railing? I built this railing. I have another video, friends. I have another video where I show you how to make railings. And this one is one of the ones I just made it yesterday. Probably took me 15 minutes to build, but I'm going to use this railing that I made, and I'm going to put a line right here and here and over here and over here. And then I'm just putting a railing around this whole thing. Just showing you guys have done this before, huh? Railings are pretty simple. Okay. And then, so boom, we got a railing on this, but I want to do one quick thing. Plan. Okay. What I want to do is break a whole opening in this thing. Okay. And so I'm going to hit edit path. And I'm going to say split. I'm just going to split it here, split it over here. So I have an opening right there. Okay. And if I put a stair on here, that's done. Let's go back and look at it. Okay. Okay. Part of this railing system was extending the posts all the way down. And I'm going to edit that right now so it's not bothering me. I had the posts all going down 3 feet. Okay. I'm just going to say 0 on all those. Okay. So now there. So now the railing is just attached to the top here. And I need a stair. I need a stair on this. So I'm going to go back to my plan. And I'm going to click on architecture, stair. And I just made I want the stair. This is just a deck, some deck stairs, which is open wood. And I believe I made a video on how to do stairs, how to make a new stair assembly. But if not, then ask me down in the comments below to do that. But for right now, I'm just going to use the one I've got. It's just open wood stairs. It's really simple. And the base of the bottom of this thing is going to be -3 feet. And then the top of it is going to be at 0. Okay. So I'm just going to put this guy out here. It's out a little bit too far, right? So I'm going to use a line to go to the edge of my deck. Bring it on in. And then over here, I'm going to say align, okay? Align to the edge of that rail. And I'm going to bring the other side over to the other edge of this rail. Right about there. I'm eyeballing it right now just because it makes it easy. And check the box, okay? And so what I see is that these, the railings don't line up where they're supposed to, right? You guys see that? Oh dear, they're crashing into each other. So what you can do is do this. I would like this one, I'm going to say edit the path. I want this to come over right to the edge, okay? And this one to come right to the edge of that railing. That makes sense. And this one, I'm going to edit the path. I'm going to pull it back so it hits the face of that railing. And this one, edit path, pull it back so it hits the face of the railing. That way, everybody's happy and everything is lined up where it's supposed to be, and it looks like this. Okay? So that, my friends, is how you make a simple deck. You put in the columns, you put in the beams, you put in the deck boards, throw in a stair and a railing, and you're good to go. All right? I hope that that helps you guys in your endeavors to design a deck. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section below and we'll go from there. All right? You guys have a fantastic day and happy Reviting. I'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.